So be really critical without like, purposely hurting yourself and putting yourself down, but just be critical of your content and compare it to other people's. Don't compare the results, because that doesn't make sense. Like if you look at bigger people and you're like, oh, they get more views. It's like, well, yeah, because they've been doing it for longer or whatever.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to another episode of Music Career Podcast. Today, my guest is a talented beat producer, EdTalenti. Welcome, Ed.
What's up?
I'm truly glad that you decided to be here. The thing was that you were like the first producer that I started my Instagram account, and I was thinking I'm gonna see what other producers doing on this platform, and
Right.
you were like the third or the first producer that I found, and I'm like, damn, this guy he does some quality stuff.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man.
So I'm just gonna jump into the questions because I know you have so much value to give, as you do in all of your YouTube videos, on your Instagram and everything. So I'm just gonna jump
Let's do it.
into the questions. But tell me a little bit about yourself. Give me a small biography about yourself, like when you started with music and how old are you? Just give me a brief biography about yourself.
Sure. So I was born in Italy. I am now 27 years old. I grew up in Italy. When I was about like 10 or 11, my parents bought me a drum set. I got really into drums pretty quickly. And by the time I was like 14, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do for sure. I wanted to be in a band. I wanted to play drums full time, 24/7. I just wanted to be a touring drummer. So after talking to my parents and convincing them a little bit, I decided to go to college, which made me move to LA, where I got my degree in drums and percussions. After that, I worked as a drummer full time for like a couple of years in Los Angeles. And I then decided to move back to Italy and pursue a career as a, I guess, producer, influencer, like online personality, whatever, as a music producer.
Yeah.
And here we are. That's
Oh,
it.
that's really cool. I wonder because me myself, I started off with the drums when I was like 13 or 14, and
Right.
I really wonder how many beat makers are drummer boys.
I
Drummer
think a
boys.
lot, man.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of us. Yeah, for
So
sure.
so you said you were in LA. Did you work as a session drummer for bands and stuff, or did you work in a studio? How did that work?
After school, I mean, during school, I was just in school and I had my own project, like my own band. We were into like progressive metal. I don't know what kind of drumming you were into, but
Metalcore.
there you go. So
Yeah.
we were playing, we opened for like Periphery, Animals as Leaders, bands like that. I don't know if you know them, but
Yeah.
we were like into the progressive metal scene. After school, though, we kind of like broke up the band. We weren't really into it. We just weren't into it anymore, I guess.
Yeah.
And I started working as a session drummer, so both in the studio and live for whoever needed drummers. And in LA, there's always work. There's also a lot of competition, but there's
Yeah.
always people needing musicians. So yeah, session drummer. I wasn't working with anybody like consistent, like it was just random people, I guess.
Yeah, because with my old band, we were in this. We got a record label, and we started recording with them. And he was a session guitarist in Los Angeles.
Right.
And he told me like the thing was he felt like he was getting used a bit.
Definitely.
Did you get that feeling when you were a session drummist?
Yeah. I mean, it was one of the hardest things. It's not so much like, to me, it wasn't so much getting used. It was more like there are so many drummers or musicians, I guess, in general.
Yeah.
And the competition is so high that like, it's a constant hustle, like
Yeah.
24/7 to just like survive. Also because expenses are really high there. So there's a lot of competition, like even between people. I mean, most people are nice about it, but it's still a very like competitive environment. I mean, the musicians are good, because even the school that I went to, Musicians Institute, I mean, they shell out like 100 drummers a year, and they're all pretty good because they went to school. They dedicated themselves to that. So there are so many musicians in LA trying to do
Yeah.
the whole like session player thing. So yeah, there's a lot of competition, and it can get ugly.
Yeah, because I listened to a podcast and they told me like LA is the place to be if you want to be a musician or an artist, or you know, you have to go to LA. He told me.
Well, that's actually the really interesting point, that like I didn't start my biggest, like the biggest chapter so far of my career when I actually moved back home in the middle of nowhere by myself, and I opened an Instagram account.
Yeah.
So I was in LA and I wasn't really doing anything. Like I was working as a drummer, but not really anything big. And when I actually went out of LA and started building my own brand online, it didn't even matter. Like I'm literally here by myself. There's nothing around me. I'm in the countryside. So I think that's actually really cool that you don't need to be in LA or New York anymore in this day and age. It's nice and you meet a lot of people, but at the same time, you can build your own brand and become potentially huge from wherever you are with really nothing but an internet connection and a camera.
Yeah, because I mean, the thing with going to LA, I mean, it's pretty old school. It's like there you
Right.
meet other people that's interested in the things that you are and are passionate and dedicated to music. But I mean, you can just open up your phone and you can find whoever like
Right.
to work with or whatever. Yeah.
Absolutely. Obviously, in LA, it is a little bit easier. Like, especially if I don't know, let's say some artist is coming through and they want producers to go in. They're gonna call. Let's say they have a connection with you. You can get there in like 5 minutes because you already live in the same city. If you're in the middle of nowhere in Italy, or where are you? Are you in Sweden?
I'm in Sweden. Yeah.
Yeah, or if you're in Sweden, then they have to fly you out. It's like this
Yeah.
super complicated thing, high commitment. In LA, it's like there's constantly people coming through. So the chances that you end up in the studio with somebody bigger or with somebody like with more connections, it's really, really high.
Mm.
But other than that, you can be anywhere you want, and it doesn't really make any difference.
No, not for real. So how how would how is can you explain your sound for me? Do you have a special sound or something that you like take in as an influence? I mean, you have been a you played the drums in a hardcore. Did you say hardcore band?
It was like progressive metal, I guess.
Progressive metal. Yeah. So it, so tell me about your sound. Is it influenced by your drumming from the past, or is this
Sure.
something that you've just build up to?
Right. I kind of built it from scratch. Not that my sound is like so unique or original, but I kind of detached myself from my drummer phase, I guess.
Mm.
Even when I was at the end of college, I was getting into like jazz. Like I kind of went away from metal completely. So I think that influence is mostly gone, but there's definitely a jazz influence in my sound,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to melodies or and stuff like that. And even since I've been producing music, my sound changed a lot. Like at first, I was making these like almost lo-fi, like J Dilla old school type beats, and now I'm making these like trap,
Yeah.
heavier beats, I guess.
Yeah.
So my sound definitely changed because of a million things, but um, I don't know if there's much of a connection with the drumming. It's just kind of like that's experience that I did, so it's kind of like built into me, and it comes out, I'm sure, some way.
One thing that I got in mind now when you talked about that you were in a band, a progressive metal band, was that when I've listened to your stuff on Instagram or YouTube, I feel that the big part of your song, the thing that I feel that is the most outstanding with your beats and stuff is always the bass line.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that is something that I feel that you really are doing well, and something that I really hear you put a lot of time in.
Definitely. Because I feel like 808s need to be. I don't know. 808s are such an important part. The low end in general is such an
Yeah.
important part of beat making. So absolutely, I put a lot of time into that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and
yeah,
it's often the hardest part to get right in your mix.
right. Definitely.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about your sound. You have some jazz influences and stuff, but what's your biggest inspiration at the moment? It can be whatever, like a musician or a influencer. But what's your biggest inspiration to your music right now?
Right now, because it keeps changing,
Yeah.
but there are some names that come through, and funny enough, none of them are in the hip hop world. I just don't listen to that much hip hop music
Mm.
or trap, I guess. So like Frank Zappa, it's always like it's what I listen to like most of the time. I've been listening to a lot of Tigran Amassian, which is like this piano player. It's like I listen to pretty weird music that's not exactly, it's not at all what I make.
No, no.
Um, I
I
don't really
I
listen to much trap.
I think that is pretty common because when I spend a lot of time in the metal world, you know, famous people making like quality metal songs and famous metal heads like uh, they they listen to classic music and other
Right,
stuff because they didn't want to get influenced by someone playing the same genre as themselves.
right, exactly.
Yeah. Uh,
That totally makes sense.
so tell me a little bit about how and where you make your music. So uh, how do you get your inspiration right there and then when you're trying to make a song, and where is like, do you go out and do you go out and make music? Do you always sit in your studio? Do you write your song on the bus, or yeah, you get the
Right.
question. Yeah.
Yeah. When I make music, especially these days, I'm always in the studio.
Mm.
And I've worked hard to like develop this, just kind of like this way to focus my brain so that no matter what, even if I'm having a shitty day, if I'm tired, it doesn't matter. I can like focus myself and like squeeze something out.
Yeah.
Because for a long time it took me like, there were days where like I would make beats, but they were all terrible. Like I was just having a hard time to just squeeze out something good consistently.
Mm.
And every now and then I would make a good beat. But these days I just, by doing it a lot and just by kind of like getting some common practices down and stuff, I'm usually always able to sit down, even if I'm very uninspired, to sit down and squeeze out something that's at least decent.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
yeah,
that's really good. Can you explain a bit further, like how do you do to? Because when I sit with music, I can usually do one part, but then I'm not getting it any further. But can you tell me
right.
little bit about your how do you produce?
Sure. I mean, most of the time it's either I start from a sample, so I just go on YouTube and I start looking for like old Italian songs or old cartoon songs or anime, whatever. I
Yeah.
start looking for old songs, and maybe I spend like an hour and a half in the morning just really not doing anything, drinking my coffee and just scrolling through a billion songs that I find on YouTube, until I found a few. Maybe I download a few and I find some that I'm like, okay, these I can probably flip. And that's usually really good for inspiration because then I have these songs that are already, they're inspiring me, and I can open one up, try to flip it. If it doesn't work, I pick another one, and within like two or three songs, I always come up with something. The other system that I have, usually it's kind of like the opposite. So I just strip everything down. I don't even sit in front of the computer. I have a piano, like a real piano in here in
Mm.
the studio. I just sit at the piano and just start messing around with whatever. I just
Mm.
kind of like throw my hands on the piano until I find something, a sound, a chord, a little melody, whatever, that kind of like hits me the right way. And then I start from that and try to develop it into something, finished.
Yeah, that's cool. So is the what is the actual rules of sampling? Like if you find a song that you want to sample, what's the actual rule? Is there any rules, or do you follow any rules? Like when you
You mean
use,
like,
yeah, legally or
oh, legal? Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay, okay. Technically, yes. So basically, the way sampling works is that you take something and you turn it into something else for people that maybe don't know. And so you use something that already existed, let's say a song, and you turn it into something else. Now it's the producer's job technically to declare what that song is, and for the person, that the artist or whomever is going to end up using it, to buy a license to use that song for the
Yeah.
sample.
Yeah.
But the truth is that, if you find, first of all, you're not going to want to sample like the most popular thing ever. You're going to go and look for like rare, weird things. Like I sample a lot of music from like Soviet Russia, from like the 50s, like things that don't even like exist. Like they're really hard to find. They
Yeah.
have like 100 views on YouTube. So really the only case where that would be a problem is if somebody actually listen to one of your songs. So the song needs to be big, like it needs to be like in the million of plays. So it's really rare, and somebody actually comes and finds you, and it's like, dude, you used my song.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if the song you picked is really rare, if you sell a bunch of leases, but you know the songs don't really get like millions of plays, they don't go on the radio, they don't go on billboards and stuff. Then you know technically you couldn't do it, but nothing's gonna happen.
no, not
Um,
sure, not sure,
yeah,
because someone told me like you need like legal, you need you need a license or clarification from an artist if you just
yeah.
if you're just doing you're just doing a cover on YouTube, playing the song on YouTube.
Technically,
Yeah,
you would need that. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. That's the rules are really strict, but at the same moment they're like not strict at all. It's just when
well,
it
the truth is that nobody's gonna come find you unless there's a lot of money involved, because that's really all they care about.
yeah,
So if a song blows up and there's like now there's all of a sudden there's like all this money involved, then somebody's gonna show up and is gonna be like, hey, I want my cut. But if there's no money involved, then why would they even come bother you or sue you? It's like a lot of work for nothing because
yeah.
there's no money in it. So yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, if there's a lot of money in it and it turns into like if they sue you and stuff, then
right.
the thing with you making a cover of that song from the beginning was to get just a bit of attention or to be noticed. So it doesn't really matter for you if they take the money from that song that's a cover
Right.
or a beat that you made with a sample, because it's I just think that people care more about getting noticed than just getting money from one song. Like,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. It's not really a problem.
no. So tell me a bit about how much time do you spend making music every day or every week?
I mean, this is my full-time job, so I'm here every day at the studio. But the percentage of time that I actually like, I am making a beat, it's
Yeah,
actually really small.
yeah,
Most of the stuff that I do is shooting and editing videos, or it's like more, I guess, like side, like admin stuff, like responding to emails and stuff like that.
yeah,
Um, I probably make music, like actually sit down in front of a keyboard for like uh, an hour or two a day at
yeah.
most. The rest of my day is just editing videos and shooting the
Yeah,
videos.
I know the
All
feeling
that stuff.
because I've started now when I started this interviewing and I'm filming, I'm editing the
Right.
podcast and I'm editing the videos. It's like all the time. It's just blown away. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but I think I have to get a bit structured and really set some time to make music instead of I'm gonna make music later when I'm done with this.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a good idea. I mean, that's why YouTube videos are good because 90% of the beats that I make are the
Yeah,
ones that I'm making on camera. So I'm making a beat, but I'm also shooting a video at the same time.
yeah,
So they're like, I rarely these days I rarely make a beat with the camera off. It almost never happens.
yeah. That's really effective.
Yeah.
Uh, so tell me a little about, or tell me a little bit about what's your biggest struggle at the moment.
Um, I mean, I guess the biggest struggle would be just wanting to increase all my numbers faster than they can possibly go up,
Yeah,
if that makes any sense. I don't really have any particular struggle, to be honest. Like I'm really happy with where I'm at, and I can, as long as I can see the growth, and I am seeing the growth on all the stuff that I do, then I'm happy.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I've had struggles in the past. Like I was having trouble like finding the time to do this when it wasn't my main job, um, and and stuff like that. But right now, it's actually pretty smooth sailing, to be honest.
So when you talk about like uh, time, you talked about time before, like you had like 1 or 2 hours. If you could have someone edit your videos instead, so you could put like I don't know, about 6 hours a day uh, making music instead. Would you? Is that something that you see in the future, like maybe hiring someone to edit, and then you can really do the thing that you enjoy the most, making music and making the videos instead of editing and doing all the labor.
Right. Sure. Yeah. I have thought, I'm not at that point yet. Like I don't make enough money to hire an editor, but I
Yeah.
can see a point where I'm going to want to do that. But I don't think I'm going to make more music, or if I will, I'll do something different, just because already right now I release about like 2 or 3 beats a week.
Mm.
And honestly, I tried doing like beats every day. I tried doing like 2 beats a day, and there's not that much difference in terms of like sales or anything like that. So I'm at a point where like my 3 beats a week, they're good enough. Like, you
Yeah.
know, I,
Yeah.
I if I increased it, it would be more work, but kind of like for nothing. Um, so I'm
S-
happy with it.
So are you selling the beats like word to mouth, like to certain people, or are they on like a beat store or something,
Oh no,
or
it's all on the
both?
Beat Store.
Beat store, okay,
No,
yeah,
there's no really word of mouth because I live again in the middle of nowhere, so
yeah,
there's nothing out here. But most of them come through Instagram, and I have my website, I have my Beat Store, but most of them come through Instagram. People that see my videos, artists and rappers, and then they hit me up telling me that they want the beat. And some other ones happen just through my BeatStars account because I'm finally starting to have a little bit of followers there. I think I have like 3K.
yeah.
So yeah, sometimes just sales come through there.
So do you have any tip for like a smaller producer or beat maker trying to sell their beats? Like they're small like me. They have like 300 followers on Instagram. They wanna sell their beats. Do you have any tip for those guys?
Yeah, keep making videos.
Yeah,
It's silly. It's silly that like the videos are the thing that makes you sell beats. It's not the
yeah,
beats. I mean, obviously the beats need to be good. If the beats are bad, then I mean that there's nothing you can do. But if the beats are good, then it's all about building video content and putting your face out there and just starting to develop that idea of like the brand and just that trust.
mm,
Because when you have your face on camera, like even if it's a stupid video like the ones I do where I'm just playing the beat outside or whatever, but people get used to seeing my face and they get used to seeing me in my environment, and eventually they start like trusting me, even if they don't know me. They develop that connection of like, oh, I kind of know this guy, even
yeah,
if they don't, because they never talk to me. So then they develop that trust, and when they hear a beat that they like, it's like it's a no-brainer. They hit you up and they're like, I want the beat. I already trust you. I know that you're gonna do good work, and here you go. So I think that that's really the main thing, because the market is so crowded right now. There's obviously tactics that you can do. Like I used to message rappers directly on Instagram, like send DMs to
yeah,
strangers, basically. It was sort of effective, but it was so much work, and it just wasn't worth the return.
mm,
Um, yeah, I don't know. There's stuff like that that you can do, but honestly, I would for a smaller producer, I would focus my time on finding ways to get followers, basically.
yeah. Making interesting videos or
Yeah.
like or giving value, showing how to do stuff or whatever. Like just um, share yourself on the internet.
Exactly. Like just make content. I always say this thing to people that are like, how do I grow my followers? And I tell them, post cool stuff and post it as often as you can. That's
Yeah,
really it. Like just gotta make cool things and put them out there and
yeah,
just keep doing it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so what goals do you have this year now to 2019?
I guess it's just keep doing what I'm doing and make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Um, I don't really want to switch anything, but I like where I'm going. I just need to keep going and just do it even harder.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna bring up a scenario now. Like if
Sure.
let's say you a rapper contacts you and like wants a beat, and he blows up like he turns out to be ASAP Rocky or whatever. Like,
Right.
and he's like, man, I want you on my crew. I want you to go and make beats with me like every day. Would that be something? Would that be interesting for you, or would you feel like maybe that will take too much time? Like you want to vlog and you want to connect with other people, or would that be something that you like? Damn, I'm gonna do that.
It's yes and no, because I mean, first of all, that doesn't really happen all that much, even for big rappers. I mean, some of them work with like specific producers, but most of them just like they switch around, and there's kind of like a circle of producers. They're the ones that get like a lot of the placements.
Mm.
Um, and they end up being in contact. But it's really rare to find an artist that always works with the same producer over and over. I mean, like Drake does it, but that's like about it. There's not that many
Yeah.
rappers these days that just work with one guy and they just take him with them and they pay him a salary. You know, like that doesn't really happen.
No.
So I think, I mean, even if that was the case, I would be able to do both. Like people usually do both. Sometimes, you know, you get a placement with somebody and then you go back to your regular life. Yeah.
So here in Sweden, we have like a few, you can almost call them festivals, where musicians and people who produce their songs get like awards and stuff. Do you have anything like that in Italy?
There's nothing in Italy. Italy sucks.
Okay.
Italy is completely dead.
All right.
There are like there's starting to appear like a few people that do trap that are like mainstream. But I mean, they're pretty bad. It's not great. It's not, there's no scene. There's not really a lot of movement happening. There's a lot in the underground, but I don't know. It's just not great for the most part.
Yeah, because here in Sweden we have like, I don't know how to explain it, but you can get like money from the government if you
Oh wow.
if you're a producer or a musician, then you get like tax money from rest of Sweden, like, so you can pay for equipment and stuff
That's
like that.
crazy.
Yeah.
No, dude. I mean, people don't even have that in the US. I
No.
think I heard that Sweden is like really, really great as far as like just promoting the arts and just in general. You guys, it's a pretty rare case. I think you guys do it. I think Canada does it. And I think that's about it. The US definitely don't do it. Definitely nobody else in Europe that I know of. Maybe Germany a little bit. I don't
Yeah.
know. But it's pretty rare. Yeah.
But the
You guys are
thing,
lucky.
with this system in Sweden, I mean, people get lazy. You know, you don't have to work hard for shit. You get like, oh, I'm just getting, oh, I can get a studio for like $10 an hour, and
Right.
it's like cheap stuff, and you can get like music equipment and stuff. So I think the thing with Sweden is like you can get everything, you can get the material stuff, but to get the skill, you have to put in the hard work, and
Right.
yeah. So
I see what you're saying. Yeah, so
because
people risk getting lazy because they already have it and they're like, "Oh, I already got it,"
yeah,
and then they
yeah,
don't do it, the
exactly,
work.
yeah.
I feel you.
So I'm just gonna jump into another question. This is something that I've asked all the guests here on the pod.
Sure.
So what's your biggest obsession at the moment? Non-music related. It can be like this fish taco joint down by my house. It's like I'm eating there every day. It's so good. Or it could be a video game, or it could be a bowling alley. Whatever. Just tell me something that you're like really obsessed with at the moment.
That's a good question. Let me see. Because like what I do, like 99% is my job. Like I don't really do anything else.
Yeah.
If I do something else, I play the Switch. I play Nintendo Switch a lot. So I either play Smash or I play. What am I playing right now? I'm playing Octopath Traveler. I don't know if
All
you
right.
heard of it.
No.
I never got a. Yeah, it's a game. I never got a chance to play it, and I'm finally getting through it slowly.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I took my vow of silence. No, but this year, I've been in a metalcore band. I've done pop songs with my brother. I've done so much in the music business, but I've never put in the necessary work to
Right.
get anywhere. So I decided for myself this April this year that now I'm gonna put all my energy, all my time that I have left every day to build a music career,
Yeah,
or something in that genre.
that's a very
So
good idea.
yeah, so I just stopped. I stopped playing Witcher like in April. The Witcher 3,
Yeah,
Witcher
it's
3.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I just stopped. Like I played 60% of the game, and I told
Oh,
myself,
dude.
I love this game, but if I can live off music, then I can play the rest of the game.
Right. I like
So
that. I like
yeah.
that. Do play the game though, because it's awesome. I finished it a couple. It's really good.
Yeah, I got so hooked up with the card game Gwent.
Yeah, yeah.
I sat and played Gwent for like 20 hours. It was sick. Yeah.
Yeah. You should probably do music then.
Yeah, I should do music. Yeah. So I've made this Spotify playlist for all my guests here on the pod.
Nice.
So I want you to give me two of your favorite songs
Oh wow.
at the moment.
Do I have to do it on the spot? Let me think. That's hard. Okay.
Just
Does it have to
try
be?
to grab them from your heart, like yeah.
Does it have to be genre specific, or it can be
No.
anything?
Whatever. It could be a musical ballad. What? How do you
All
say
right.
that? Ballad.
Ballad?
Ballad. Yeah. Sorry.
No, don't worry. I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna give you two from my phone. I'm gonna go pretty weird.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you "The Grid" by Tigran Amassian.
The Grid by, I can't spell that, but I'm just gonna write The
that one's
Grid.
crazy.
Yep.
The Grid. And then the other one is, 1 second. I'm gonna find something good. I guess I've been into this song a lot. "Potato Salad" by Tyler the Creator and A$AP Rocky.
Potato salad with and with who? Potato salad with
Tyler the Creator and A$AP Rocky.
Awesome. Those two songs will be in the Spotify playlist, and I also
Sweet.
want you to feature one of your own songs, or something that you've made yourself, or if you made a beat for an artist, something that you want to have on this list.
Nice. I don't know if I have anything on Spotify.
Yeah,
but
it's gonna be on SoundCloud as well. So
okay, I might have something. Oh, should I tell you right now?
if you know the name of it, or else I can just throw it in there later.
Right, I'm gonna have to tell you later because I have to check what's on SoundCloud. I don't really use SoundCloud at all.
Yeah,
it's like empty.
Okay,
but I'll give you something. I'll give you something later.
Awesome. Yeah. So can you just, I'm just wanna this part of the podcast, I want to give you the opportunity to give your best tips to producers out there. I know you do a lot on your YouTube, but just try to like give a few of your best tips to producers out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Number one is making music, and for a living, if you want to do this full time, it's an endurance job, and you have to go through a phase which is sometimes really long, where you post content, you put a lot of work into it, and you get 10 views and nobody cares, and you get one comment and it's a spam comment, and it's really frustrating. But you gotta get through that phase in order to get to the good stuff. There's just no way around it. So just remember to be in it for the long game. This is something that took me a long time to learn, but it's you gotta just keep going. Even if you keep getting 10 views, just keep going until you get 100, and then you're gonna get 1,000, then you're gonna get 10,000. Just keep doing it and just keep making it bigger day by day. So that would be the first thing. The second one, which is kind of connected, is really listen to people's feedback and try to make the most out of it. Because even if you don't get a lot of comments, even if you don't get a lot of feedback, the feedback that you get online is really valuable, and usually it's really honest, because people on the internet don't care about you, so they will tell you if it's trash. If they tell you that it's trash, if they tell you that something is wrong, if they tell you that your face looks stupid, whatever they tell you, try to listen to them and figure out what they meant. Because maybe they said it in a way that's really like mean and aggressive, so that's not the point. But if they said it, sometimes there's some truth to it, to a certain level. So really try to like self-analyze and figure out why that guy told you that thing and try to fix it.
I wonder if I wonder if Marshmallow, when he started off, he got that comment with like your face looks disgusting, and he started a new channel with
With the
Marshmallow.
mask.
Yeah,
And then you got people saying, "Take off that stupid
yeah,
mask. You'll never go anywhere with that mask
no,
on."
no, yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
dude.
That's really
But
that's really good
neg-
tips. Yeah,
negative feedback is key.
yeah,
And what else? And do the same thing to your content. So be really critical without like, purposely hurting yourself and putting yourself down, but just be critical of your content and compare it to other people's. Don't compare the results, because that doesn't make sense. Like if you look at bigger people and you're like, oh, they get more views. It's like, well, yeah, because they've been doing it for longer or whatever. But do compare the content. Like look some other person's videos and be like, what can I do to get my videos at the same level as that other person? And just try to like implement tactics that they do and stuff like that, just
yeah,
to basically just to improve your craft, improve your beats, improve your videos, improve the quality of the stuff that you talk about, whatever it is. But never look at the results though, because that's really dangerous, and it can put you down a lot. Sometimes you look at people on YouTube and you're like, this guy's getting 1 million views. I'm never going to get there. I have 20 views. Nothing's happening. But you don't really see, by doing that, you just put yourself down, but you don't really see what that guy's path was. Like maybe he spent like 2 years doing YouTube where he was getting 20 views, and now he's starting to get some views. So just trust the process and try to learn as much as you can from other people without putting yourself down,
yeah.
and just hurting yourself.
Yeah, because the thing that I get from your tips is like you should always aim to progress, but not like you shouldn't focus on the result, but you should always aim to progress. If you made a video, if it has 20 views, then you shouldn't care about that, but you should, the next video you do, you should do it better.
Yes, and
Yeah,
and the next video you should try to get 21 views.
yeah,
So don't focus on the results, but you said it perfectly. Don't focus on the results, just focus on the work.
yeah. Because the thing with that I see a lot on Instagram and on YouTube is like people, they really care about the results, so they um so they ask almost for comments and stuff. I've done it myself.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, because I've jumped into like communities or stuff on Instagram, like groups and stuff, where you share your beat and people's like gonna give you comments and stuff, but it's like it's not real comments. It's like just
Yeah.
maybe your own ego will get boost for like 10 minutes, but it doesn't really matter because you haven't progressed anything. You've just gotten more groups to spam your stuff into.
Yeah, I really do think that that's kind of like a big waste of time and like mental energy. Like if you keep focusing yourself on like, how do I get more comments and views, then you're spending that time in a really bad way. You could
Yeah.
be spending that same time figuring out a good video idea or something, or a new
Yeah.
beat. So yeah, it is definitely wasted energy. I agree.
Yeah, because I think everyone that's going to, still be doing this in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, I think everyone will go through that process of just like looking at the result. But maybe if you listen to this podcast, hey, that's me, and you'll be like, I'm gonna stop that like directly.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude. I did it for so long. I mean, it took me, I've been doing this for 3 years. And the first like almost 2 years, the first like year and a half, I was in that phase. I was getting 20 views and nobody cared, and I had 350 Instagram followers.
yeah,
Literally, that was like a year and a half, and I was putting in maybe not the same amount of work as now, but kinda. I was putting in a lot of work, but getting no results. And then all of a sudden, some things started like rolling. You get a few good videos in, and then it starts this like snowball effect, and it just gets bigger by itself, kind of. Yeah.
So I want to talk about another issue, that is people people not complaining. They're saying stuff like, yeah, I can't do what he's doing. He has like a really expensive camera, and he has a studio, and he has all these cool keyboards that I don't have, and he has like cool plugins. so I can't do what he does because he has those things. People get obsessed with
Right.
things. Yeah. So what would you say to those people?
I would say use what you have and do not focus about gear. I am still working with some speakers that I bought, and this is the only pair of speakers that I have where I mix all my stuff, that I got from a friend of mine used for $50 the pair. So, and they're super shitty. They're these Samsung's A5, whatever. They're really, really cheap speakers, and I still haven't upgraded because I don't know. I work with what I have.
Yeah.
And if you look at like Simon Servita, which I'm sure most people know who he is, he has a huge YouTube channel. He built the entire YouTube channel shooting videos with his phone. He still shoots videos with his phone.
Yeah.
And he has like, 250,000 subscribers. So just take the good of what you have, even if it's very little, and everything else that's bad and that's not working and that you don't have yet, just don't focus on it. Because these days you can make music. You can literally make music as long as you have a computer, a pair of headphones, and that's it, really. And then your head. So as long as you have those two elements, you can make music and you can do potentially really, really, really great high quality stuff. You look at other producers like Cody, which is a type B producer. He's one of the biggest ones out there, and he built basically his entire career as a producer on the Apple, the iPhone earbuds and nothing else. So, and his laptop. So yeah, don't worry about gear. Just use what you have, and one day if you want to upgrade something, do it. But you don't need anything to start.
No, no, for sure. The thing is that, I mean, if you look at like world star hip hop fights, they are recorded with like the worst camera on the world. It's like blurry. You don't see shit, and someone gets hit. But the thing is that it has like 40 million views, and so it really doesn't matter about how the best quality of stuff that you have. It's more of the value of the video, or the thing that's in the video, what you're doing. It's the content.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. So I'm actually, I don't have any more specific questions to ask you in this podcast. We've run through them all, but I'm
Cool.
gonna bring up some questions from the listeners.
Awesome.
Yeah. So here's the first question from Johnny. Kirchens. Really hope I pronounced this right. I might not. I'm from Sweden.
What up, Johnny?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. So how do you master your tracks loudness? How do you master your tracks loudness to get it to commercial level?
Okay. So I export my mixes at -6 dB, and I export them as one track. I open a new session where I just import the one mix, and I put ozone on it, ozone 8, bring it up to 0, and put a little bit of like a stereo spread on it, and that's it.
You don't use any saturation or?
Nope, not on the master.
No. Yeah. That's really good. Okay, we have another question from Max BFT.
What up, Max?
What kind of practice did you train your ears?
Ooh, transcribe stuff. That's like the main practice, and it's the most useful one, especially if you want to be a producer. Listen to beats that you like or songs, and try to figure out the melodies. Sit down in front of a piano or a MIDI keyboard or whatever, and figure out the notes of the melody to try and get your ear to start recognizing chords and just notes.
So to shed some more light on this question, I think maybe he's wondering like, how did you practice your ears to make a good mix?
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what he's asking, but I'm just thinking if it is, then maybe he will get his value.
If that's what you're asking, then my main advice would be to listen to a lot of music that's similar to the one that you make. In fact, go and download a couple songs that are similar to the ones you're making, import them into your DAW, and play them like side by side with your own mix, and try to make adjustments to match that. So if you listen to their song and the 808 is a bit louder, turn up your 808. If whatever, like make adjustments and try to match the other song.
I think a really good advice is also to remake a song. Try to
Yeah.
remake the same song. You take a song from Spotify and you try to make the synths and you try to make the piano and the drums and the bass and everything. You just do a remake and see like, oh, this sounds, the bass is heavier, or the synths is has much more higher frequencies, and that way you can train your ears to hear the stuff that you might not have heard before.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a
Yeah.
really, really great method. Yeah, for sure.
So I have another question from Puff Adam.
What
Uh,
up?
how do you layer your 808s and kicks?
How do I layer them? I mean, usually what I do, I generally, because of the workflow that I make beats with, I already have the kick first. Um, and while the kick is playing, I scroll through a bunch of 808s until I find one that kind of like, that makes them both sound clear and loud. So that has the right timbre, I guess. And then I bring that in, and then I start building my part, keeping in mind, I tend to like copy the part pretty much spot on. So every time that there's an 808, there's also a kick, but except for like, syncopations, like if the 808 is doing like a slide or something, then I don't copy the kick. But the main notes, they usually go layered together, like at the same time.
All right. Another question from Control Plus Sane. How and when did you get inducted to the flute gang? And I just have to ask you before. It's been a lot of question about flutes, like why do you love flutes so much and stuff like that. But yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
so yeah, the question again: how and when did you get inducted into the flute gang?
The flute gang is a meme that kind of started on my YouTube channel.
All right.
Because I was always using flutes and people were making fun of me. Were like, "Oh, dude, you're always using the same flute." And I was like, "Yeah, I love flutes, and it's kind of like my whole thing." So I started the flute gang.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
So,
that's fun.
uh, so yeah, so actually you started using the flutes and it became a thing,
Yeah,
and then you made the flute. Yeah, oh yeah, that's really
yeah.
cool. So another question from Cryos Music: Is is your only income your beats and music, and are you afraid that you will have a bad month?
Um, yes, it is my only income, and no, I'm not afraid because I have multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
So if it was only the beats, then yes, there could be a bad month. But because I have beats, YouTube, kits, mixes, collaborations, I have a whole bunch of streams. Generally, they all like compensate each other, and I never go below a certain amount at least to be able to survive.
Yeah, cool. Uh, Okay, another question from Umtusher8.
Okay.
Have you ever thought about quitting making music?
No, I've been doing this again, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, since I was like 14, and I've been wanting to do it for full time since then, and I never really stopped. So no, I will never stop.
That's
It
awesome.
might change though. It might change. I might
Yeah,
one day I might stop making beats and I might start a jazz band or whatever. But I will definitely always do music one way or the other.
yeah, you're a true inspiration, man.
Oh, dude, I appreciate that.
So the last question is from Real El Loro. What would you work with if there was no music? That's a deep one, but
Shit, that's hard. Um, dang. Um, Dude, that's so hard. Let me think about it for a sec. I'd be real depressed, first of all.
I'm th-
Um,
I'm thinking that it would be something creative.
it has to be because I actually I lied. I did have a job for 1 month in my entire life when I was 18. I was a mailman. That was the only job I've ever had, and I lasted like 3.5 weeks, and I was like, "Fuck this." I just can't. I'm just not good at working for other people
Yeah.
and having like tight schedules and stuff. So yeah, it would definitely have to be something creative, or maybe I would just not work. I would just be a homeless person. I don't know, but I it would have to be something creative. I would have to at least try because I
Yeah.
cannot work a regular 9 to 5.
So all the questions are done, but I do want to give you the opportunity to tell everyone what you're doing right now. Yeah, tell everyone a little bit about what's gonna happen next on your YouTube channel, or or are you dropping a like a sample pack or whatever? Just tell me what's up in the future with EdTalenti.
Right. So today I shot a video where I made a beat with pasta. So that's coming out tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so I'm gonna keep making YouTube videos, whether they're beat making, tutorials, all kinds of stuff. I'm planning to put out an EP on Spotify pretty soon with some instrumentals, with some beats. And then I'm definitely gonna release a new melody pack. I just put out a drum pack like a month ago, and maybe another month from now I'm gonna put out a melody pack.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. I'm really glad that you were on the show at Talenti. You've given
Yeah.
so much value. I really appreciate it. I was like, when I asked you, you didn't answer directly, but when you instant when you read the message that I wrote to you, you were like, yeah, man, I'm up for it. It's like, and I felt like, yeah, you know, this guy is not a naysayer.
I appreciate that, dude.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to be here, and I appreciate you inviting me for real.
Yeah, so that was all from me in this podcast. Be sure to check out EdTalenti. It's on YouTube, it's on Instagram, possibly on SoundCloud as well. Check out his beat stores, his samples, everything, and keep making music out there, guys. Bye, EdTalenti.
Bye.
I can't get the ideas to be the way I want. I know I have to work hard.
I understand
and
what
it
you're
will be
saying.
better.
Absolutely.
But is there anything that you could give me, like a tip or something that you think you've been on YouTube for a long time now? So what would you give to me?
My main tip would be really showcase something that's yours and that nobody else has, because there are so many people that do it that I know you said you don't really do tutorials, but that's just the first thing that comes to mind. Like if you wanted to make like an 808 tutorial, that's not going to do anything because nobody knows who you are yet. And there's just so many 808 tutorials. So even when you do stuff, like you said, like maybe like motivational or just like mindset, because you're just starting out, nobody's really gonna listen to that too much because they don't know you. So I would suggest doing content that really showcases you, as in like whether it's like the making a beat, like Kyle Beats type stuff, like vloggy type stuff, where you make music, just something that it's like people can start getting like attached to you, because that's kind of the point.
Yeah, that's a really good tip.